I don't think I would ever quit the game of poker, but I almost feel more like poker is just the language, and behind the language is really like your ability to speak. Hey guys, what's up? It's Alec Torelli, and welcome back to an episode of Ask Alec. Today's question comes from McLean, who asks, would you ever consider never playing poker again? And he goes on to say, it's one of those games where you can be competitive for a very long time, so how would it feel to give that up? This is a great question, and I actually touched a little bit on this subject in a past Ask Alec video that was from Scott, who asks, what would you have done if you didn't play poker with your life? And that's a great video. I encourage you to check it out at the link below as well. So I think I always look at poker like something, and what I said in that video is that I always looked at poker like something that would be, a slice of the pie for me long term and not the whole thing. And in the beginning of my career, let's say from 16 when I discovered poker till, 28, it was like basically all I did. So it was most of the slice of the pie. I guess in 25 I started doing other things as well, but it was most or all of the pie for a decade. And then slowly I started in getting myself involved with content creation and speaking and sharing my journey and teaching and coaching others. And so that became more of what I did. So I was always connected to poker, but I felt like it was this evolution for me. And I always felt like that was the progress, the path that I would choose even when I first started out. So I knew that this would never be the only thing I did full time, but I also knew that it would never be something that I had 0% of the pie. So I knew 100% wasn't the right number, but I also know that for me, 0% isn't the right number. It's something that I can do for as long, you see Doyle Brunson playing, he's like, 80. You can play in very, you age well in poker, so to speak. And so I can play for a very long time. I'm able to do it. But the percentage of time I play will be less, but I don't think I would ever just never play the game again. I would never put that kind of pressure on myself either to say it's binary. I'm either going to play full time and that's all I'm going to do, or I'm never going to play. I've always just taken the approach of it comes and goes and I follow my effort. And when I'm really involved in poker and I'm loving it and I want to play, I'll push myself and I'll just play as many hours as I can until I feel like the incremental hours I'm putting into poker are diminishing in terms of my enjoyment. And that's when my play starts to suffer. So there's this marriage of two problems that are happening and I just, stop playing. And that the amount of time I could dedicate to poker has changed over the years. But whatever that number is, whenever that is in a period of my life, that's how much poker I'll play. So there might be periods where I don't play for a month or two, and that's fine. There might be periods where I'm playing 40 hours a week again, and that's also fine. And so it's just kind of taking it on a as it comes and goes basis. But you mentioned something interesting, which is there aren't that many other lifelong skills where you can be competitive. And I think this is a really important thing here. If you're going to quit something that you're great at and that you've accomplished a lot at, you have to I feel like you're not going to want to quit that and just give it up and do nothing. You're going to want to find something where your skills that made you great at that activity can be translated into another area of life. So if you were really good at poker because of the analytical decision making, then maybe you're going to want to and risk management, maybe you're going to want to apply that to managing risk management at a firm or a company, or do consulting or decision making for strategy. Or if you're really great at game theory, maybe you want to consult for the military about game theory and war. It could be anything, but you have to take what you're really good at and then leverage that skill to do something else that you can sort of play the game. And so for me, I think there's a lot of other ways that I can sort of play the game. One of them is business. And so that's a fun game that has a very high ceiling, and it's an infinite game. You could play until the end and you never win, you never lose. It's just this continual process. And so I've enjoyed that transition from only playing poker to playing poker and then sharing what I've learned in poker, and then also running a business behind that as well that has other challenges, but I'm using a lot of the skills I learned in poker that help me in the business. For example, even when examining the profitability of something or looking at the numbers, I'm able to separate the facts from the noise and which metrics ultimately contributed to growth, because you learn that in poker, right? You learn to look at a hand and say like, okay, did I win the hand because I played it well, or did I win the hand because I got lucky? And that's a great skill that also translates very well into the business world. And so there's many things I'm not good at, but the things I'm good at, I've tried to spend most of my time doing and outsource the other things to people that are better than me. And so I'm still sort of playing the game. I'm just applying that skill set to a different area. Another thing that's really I've really enjoyed is the macro investing finance world. And so I feel like that's another game that's very unique and similar to poker, with a very high ceiling, and you're sort of like using psychology to bet on what's going to happen in the world and how other people are going to think and how they're going to react, and then you try and be one step ahead of them, and you try not to be on the highest level but just one level higher than your opponents, and also time it in the right way as well, and then make bets based on what you think all this information is giving you about what's going to happen in the world. And you can make bets on that. You could bet on what society is thinking. Like, for example, an example is something that happened with the coronavirus. Like, is there going to be a lot of fear in the market that's going to cause people to sell and equities are going to go down? Well, you can bet on that. You can buy options on the S&P and you can have leverage on that bet and you can make money. So you're still sort of playing poker. You're just playing it in a different game. And so in that sense, and in this little, I guess, philosophical here, I don't think I would ever quit the game of poker. But I almost feel more like poker is just the language, and behind the language is really like your ability to speak. And so like whether you're speaking one language or another, it's all sort of the same thing. I guess poker is the superficial way of communicating, and you can. There's more depth to it that applies to other areas of life as well. Business is one, finance is one, investing is one. And maybe I'll never be as good at these other things as I am at poker. Maybe I'll be a lot better. But it's the process of playing the game that's really fun to me. And honestly, I enjoy the journey more than being at the top of the mountain. So I like the climb. I actually really enjoy losing. I want to win more than I want to lose. In other words, like I like winning more than I hate losing. So I'm driven more by winning than I am about the fear of losing. I hope that makes sense. But I really enjoy losing because I like being wrong, because I like the growth, and that growth will ultimately help me win. So I learn more when I lose, and I need to feel the pain of losing in order to grow and win. So it's fun for me either way. And I feel like I'm on a free roll, because if I win, it's great. And if I lose, I'm like, oh, wow, like I'm not going to make this mistake again. And that excites me that I could be better to play this game on a higher level in the future and hopefully grow from it and succeed and reach that next level. So I don't really care that much if like another game isn't as, well, it's arguably more competitive in the markets or in the business world. But if I never become as good or prolific in these other niches that I did in poker, that's fine. But, I like the process. I like the journey. I like the game. I like betting. I like taking risks and evaluating the risk and reward of things and betting on what I think is going to happen and calculating the EV and making profitable bets. And I could do that across a lot of niches. So that's the long and short of it, man. This is a great question. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like this content, give it a like. That really lets me know and votes with your actions that you like this content. I could produce more of it. Leave me a comment below as well, and subscribe to this channel. Turn on that notification bell. You'll see more of this content coming your way. Thanks for your guys' support, and I'll see you on the next one of Ask Alec. Cheers, everybody.